She revealed an unexpected surprise. An envelope containing 400,000 changed our lives forever. Sarah's heart raced as she tore open the envelope, hands trembling. Inside lay the life-changing letter from her late father's lawyer, an inheritance of 400,000. Her thoughts spiraled wild. Suddenly, the unpaid bills stacked on the kitchen table, the worn-down car that barely started, and the sleepless nights filled with worry seemed a world away. "This could erase all our burdens," she whispered, her chest tightening with excitement. "Mia, Tommy, we might finally catch a break." But as the thrill surged, a shadow began to creep in, a familiar one. News of her estranged brother, Jake, drifting back to their small Midwest town spread faster than wildfire. Jake, who had chased big city dreams, was back after years, stirring memories of rivalry and bitterness. Would he want a piece of this newfound fortune? Sarah felt a mix of resentment and a flicker of hope. Maybe this was the chance for a true reconciliation. All around town, the annual charity fundraiser was buzzing to life. Tables filled with potluck contributions were set up, laughter drifted in the air, and familiar faces gathered. Everything felt vibrant and alive, yet inside, Sarah fought with swirling emotions. The smell of fried chicken and cornbread lingered, but in her heart, tension brewed like a storm cloud. As she served coffee and pie at the diner, Sarah noticed the familiar faces of neighbors debating over the latest gossip. "Did you hear about Jake?" one woman whispered, glancing around as if the name alone might summon his presence. Her heart sank. Did everyone but her see him return as a hero? To them, he was the prodigal son, while she still carried the weight of a tumultuous childhood, a mother less than caring, and her father's expectations that had driven her to exhaustion. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the sun set, the fundraiser turned into a kaleidoscope of bright lights and laughter. Sarah's children, Mia and Tommy, were wrapped in the joy of the evening, darting between the games and rides, their laughter ringing true, reminding her what she was fighting for. But amid the smiles, she felt that tension growing. The local community always rallied together, but now it was straining. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon as a flood warning blared over the radio. Suddenly, the night took a turn. Rain began to hammer down, growing heavier by the minute. Panic set in as the storm threatened lives, homes, and futures. Families rushed to help each other, but Sarah stood frozen, the envelope of money heavy in her pocket. "Should I take care of us first?" she thought, clenching her fists. The flicker of hope for a better life stood juxtaposed with the impending crisis. She glanced at her brother, who was stepping forward, joining the volunteers. His smile was warm as he went from house to house. Watching him was uncomfortable, like having a mirror reflecting everything she wished to bury. Could this be the moment to heal their wounds rather than deepen them? In the chaos of the storm, with her children's future hanging in the balance, Sarah felt a wild urge, a decision looming like the floodwaters rising. The moment of true clarity. Would she grab the cash for safety or lean into the bonds of family and community? What would the flood wash away, and what could it leave behind? The rain beat down relentlessly, each drop hammering with urgency. The winds howled, but within Sarah, a battle raged louder than the storm. Her instincts screamed to shield her children, to secure a future free from the burdens that had shackled them for far too long. Yet her heart, beating painfully with each glance at Jake, whispered of the ties of family and possibility. She could see him moving through the chaos, galvanizing the neighbors with words of encouragement, his laughter almost a beacon of light in the thick, dark pouring of the storm. Each bright smile he exchanged made her pulse quicken, a mix of anger and longing swirling within her. How had he managed to sweep back into town, seemingly unscathed, while she had battled through every day like it was a war? Come on, Mom. Mia's voice snapped her focus back to the present. The little girl tugged at her arm, her bright blue eyes wide with fear and determination. Tommy was right behind, a miniature version of his sister, fervently watching the skies. What do we do? The reality hit her. A storm didn't just threaten their home, it threatened their safety, their sense of belonging. Just as Sarah started to give in to fear, her instincts took over. We help. We all help. She announced, surprising herself with a voice full of certainty. The money was a temptation, but family, community, and love, the real treasures, were right in front of her. Let us go. Sarah said, the decision flooding her with a rush of adrenaline as she made her way outside into the storm. The air felt electric as the rain soaked through her clothes, yet in the heart of the chaos, she felt strangely empowered. Together they stepped into the fray. Jake approached, his expression shifting from joy to concern as he caught sight of the children. Hey! Are you all okay? Yeah, we're helping. Mia beamed, her earlier fear replaced by determination. That's what I love to hear. Jake laughed, and for the first time in years, Sarah felt a swell of admiration. This was the brother she had longed for, not the shadow of their past. As they began to work side by side, the icy barrier that had stood between them began to melt away. Neighbors joined in, uniting against the storm. They helped carry furniture to higher ground, offered comforting words amidst the fear. Sarah felt a warmth spread through her heart. It was not just about saving their homes, it was about rebuilding the connections she had thought lost forever. Hours passed, the storm slowly easing as the night deepened. Exhausted, they gathered in small circles, sipping on hot cocoa, sharing stories and laughter, even amidst the fear of what dawn would bring. The conversations flowed, with Sarah catching glimpses of her brother's softer side, a glimpse of vulnerability as he spoke of his city dreams and the loneliness of failure. What about you, Sarah? Jake asked, his tone cutting through the haze of steam and lingering rain. What are your dreams? She hesitated, caught in the moment. Could she share that hope now blossoming inside her? Could they navigate through this stormy night, not just as siblings by blood but as a family rediscovering a bond worthy of being rebuilt? As she opened her mouth to respond, a deafening crash of thunder resounded, drowning out her words. It was followed by a blackout that swept the area into unimaginable darkness. Panic surged through the crowd. Powerless against the sudden uncertainty, everyone looked toward Sarah, their faces illuminated by a flicker of hope. What would she do now, in this moment of silence and darkness? The decision weighed heavily as she stood back, the echoes of her father's hopes filling her thoughts. As she took a deep breath, a fire ignited inside her. Let us light up the night. She yelled, driven by courage. How would she spark hope in others when the storm hadn't finished yet? Would Jake's return finally mean they could rise above their past wounds, together? Sarah felt a surge of adrenaline as her words sliced through the darkness. The hesitant murmurs of the crowd began to swirl into excited whispers. She couldn't let the fear of uncertainty choke out the flicker of hope she'd just ignited. Stepping away from her children, she gathered herself, feeling stronger with each heartbeat. Does anyone have candles? Flashlights? She called out. The answer was a flurry of hands raised in the semi-darkness, as neighbors emerged from the shadows, eager to help. Over here. The sound of Carol's voice rang out, glad and steady. Carol had been their next-door neighbor for years, someone who always stepped forward when trouble called. Moments later, she was back, holding an old lantern. With a soft click, its warm light filled a small space around them, illuminating worried yet hopeful faces. Now, we're cooking, Sarah said, injecting energy as she smiled at Mia and Tommy, who beamed back at her. The lanterns began to appear and soon the night was dotted with flickering lights. It felt like fairy lights in the dark, defying the storm that continued to rage outside. Jake moved closer to Sarah, admiration in his eyes. You always had a fire in you, he said softly, the corners of his mouth lifting. "I remember when we used to camp, and you never wanted to sleep until we sung every song, told every story." Sarah smiled at the memory. "Guess I still don't want to sleep. There's too much to discover." Encouraged by her resolve, more neighbors began to emerge from their homes, carrying lanterns and flashlights, their faces lit in the glow of newfound camaraderie. A collective courage began to build. They laughed, shared stories of how their houses had weathered the storm, and huddled together for warmth and comfort. In the midst of the crowd, with laughter bouncing off the walls of the dark, Sarah spotted a figure standing at the fringe. It was Mr. Thompson, the elderly man known for his quiet nature. He was looking at her with a knowing smile, holding something tight in his hands. The storm had seemed to diminish for him, replaced with an air of calm. "Sarah," he called, voice steady. "I believe you need to come see this." Intrigued, she stepped away from the warmth of the lanterns and made her way toward him. The crowd grew quieter, eager to see what the whisper was about. As she got closer, she realized he had a weathered envelope clutched in his hand. "What's this?" she asked, brow furrowed in confusion as she reached for the envelope. "Something you left behind." "A blessing, I believe," he said gently, his eyes shimmering with kindness. The crowd leaned in as she opened the envelope carefully. Her breath caught, the light from the lantern glinted off the numbers scribbled inside. $400,000. "Mr. Thompson, what is this?" she gasped, disbelief washing over her. It felt surreal. "I found it years ago when you were gone. I've held on to it for you. It's your legacy, Sarah." "Time to decide what to do with it," he replied, each word dripping with unspoken meaning. The crowd fell silent, the weight of her decision heavy in the air. Her heart raced. This was the surprise she never knew she needed. But what did it mean? Was it a sign? A new beginning? She cast a quick glance at her children, who were now nestled close to Jake, their faces reflecting every ounce of hope. But was this truly a gift, or merely a reminder of all that had kept her trapped in her past? Gathering her thoughts, she looked back up at the crowd, their faces expectant, holding their breath like she was meant to light up their future as well. Would she seize this moment of opportunity, or would the shadows of their history pull her back? I need a moment to think," she said finally, her voice trembling under the weight of anticipation. And behind them, as the wind howled louder, another flash of lightning lit up the sky, illuminating a new possibility in the dark. What choices would this unexpected surprise bring, and how would it change everything they'd known? Sarah's heart drummed in her chest, each beat echoing the weight of her circumstances. The last remnants of doubt swirled around in her mind like the storm outside, leaving her feeling vulnerable but determined. She glanced again at the envelope, then at her children. Mia's innocent eyes sparkled with excitement, while Tommy clutched tightly at Jake's arm, sensing the gravity of the moment. "Let's take a breath," Sarah said, breaking through the tension. "Everyone just breathe." People around her seemed grateful for the reminder. They exhaled slowly, the tension in the air easing, just a little. "Mr. Thompson," she said, "thank you for keeping this safe. But, what does it mean? Why now?" With a gentle smile, he replied, "You've always had a knack for bringing people together, Sarah. This money could be something transformative, not just for you, but for all of us." A woman from the crowd stepped forward. It was Linda, a single mom from down the block. "Think of what we could do as a community, Sarah. A new playground for the kids, an after-school center, so many possibilities." Excitement buzzed among the neighbors, the idea of hope weaving its way through their hearts. Someone mentioned repairing the old community center that had fallen into disrepair, others echoed with ideas of a neighborhood garden. But in that flood of possibilities, a shadow loomed over Sarah's heart. The money felt heavy in her hands, not light like a blessing. It reminded her of a time she thought she had left behind. "What if I make the wrong choice?" she whispered, almost to herself. "What if I fail to use it the way it deserves?" Jake stepped closer, lowering his voice. You won't be alone in this, Sarah. We'll all be in this together. You have to trust your instincts. We all believe in you. His words were like a warm blanket on a chilly night, wrapping around her with reassurance, but just as the atmosphere shifted from fear to excitement, a loud crack of thunder erupted, rattling the ground beneath them. It was as if the very heavens were echoing her turmoil. The crowd jumped back, hearts racing again. Let us get inside. Carol shouted above the storm, her voice rising like a beacon through the panic. We can figure this out together. People began to move toward their homes. Sarah felt the touch of urgency in the air, mixed with the steady rush of encouragement from those around her. Come on, Mia, Tommy. She called, leading her children and Jake away from the thrumming energy of the crowd and into the cozy warmth of their home. As they stepped inside, the front door closed out the storm, but Sarah couldn't shake the uneasiness in her heart. What do you think we should do, Mom? Mia asked, her eyes wide, trusting, full of faith in Sarah's ability to make things right. Her daughter's faith pierced through the clouds of uncertainty. Sarah knew she had to dig deep, muster every ounce of courage to face the path that lay ahead. But as she looked at the envelope again, a flicker of inspiration sparked in her mind, a way to honor the gift while transforming their lives together. Would she dare to take a leap of faith? Would she choose to embrace change rather than let fear confine her once more? Outside, lightning cracked across the sky again, illuminating the streets, and Sarah's heart raced with not just fear, but an exhilarating sense of possibility. Let us talk about what we can do, she said, determination coursing through her. But first. She hesitated, staring at that unassuming envelope, the potential of it whispering to her. We need to find out what this really means for us. The lingering storm may have raged outside, but Sarah felt a flicker of courage exploding inside her, ready to clinch the future. What plan would she unveil for not just her family, but the entire community? And would that flicker be enough to light the way forward when doubts threatened to dim her fire? As the storm raged outside, Sarah gathered her children and Jake around the kitchen table, the warmth of their home wrapping around them like a protective embrace. She placed the envelope at the center of the table, a silent proclamation of possibilities waiting to be explored. Mia's eyes were bright as she leaned forward, her curiosity palpable. What's in there, Mommy? She asked, her little fingers fidgeting on the table's edge. Sarah took a deep breath, her pulse steadying for just a moment. It's a chance for us and for everyone in our neighborhood, she said, letting the words hang in the air. But we need to think carefully about how we use it. Tommy's brow furrowed. Will we be rich? Can we buy a big house? His innocent enthusiasm tugged at Sarah's heart, but she knew that wealth wasn't the goal. It's not really about being rich, buddy. It's about what we can do together. Jake nodded, pushing his chair closer. Think of all the good we could create, Sarah. It's a lot of money, but it can build something lasting, something that helps everyone. His excitement mirrored Mia's, but Sarah felt the weight of their expectations doubling on her shoulders. Okay, let us brainstorm, Sarah said, determination pushing the doubts aside, if only for the moment. As ideas began to flow, conversation peaked. The mention of the playground ignited a spark in Mia, and she suggested adding a splash pad for kids to play in during the summer heat. Tommy chimed in, envisioning a climbing wall and a skateboarding ramp. The more they talked, the more their ideas blossomed: art programs, music lessons, a community garden. The air filled with laughter and dreams, a temporary escape from the storm outside. But as laughter filled their cozy home, a new thought crept into Sarah's mind, a vision of what could go wrong. What if they mismanaged the funds? What if she let everyone down? The fear gnawed at her, a whisper undermining the joyful chorus of hope around her. Maybe we should involve everyone, Jake suggested, snapping Sarah back to the moment. We could hold a community meeting. Share ideas and workshop a plan together. Mia clapped her hands. Yes. Everyone can give their ideas. And then we can vote on what to do first. Tommy sat back in his chair, a thoughtful expression on his face. But what if someone wants to do something silly? Like a giant trampoline? Jake chuckled, that's when Sarah's leadership kicks in. We'll make sure no giant trampolines make the list unless they're part of an overall fun park. Sarah felt the weight lift a little as her family rallied around her. Could they really do this together? Community events had always invigorated her, but this was different. This money was a lifeline. With every idea shared, her apprehension softened. The laughter around the table brought back memories of summer barbecues and block parties. The joy of neighbors coming together made her heart swell with excitement. However, as visions danced in her mind, darkness loomed just outside their door, a reminder of the storm still raging. It was a battle between hope and fear, and neither was prepared to back down. Who do we invite first? Sarah asked, glancing at her children, their eager faces reflecting the light of the kitchen. Everyone. They chimed in unison, the excitement contagious. Fine, then let us set a date, Sarah said, feeling the fire within her rekindle. Let us get our neighbors together. We'll figure this out as a family, as a community. As she sealed the plan with a nod, the door creaked ominously, and the wind howled outside. But within those four walls, potential stirred. That evening, as thunder rumbled again, Sarah felt lighter than she had in weeks. She was ready for the challenge, but as the night deepened, an unexpected phone call shattered her newfound confidence. When she answered, the voice on the other end sent a chill down her spine. Sarah, we need to talk about that money. It may not be what you think. Her heart dropped, and a cold wave of doubt washed over her. What more could possibly be at play? What hidden truths lay waiting in the storm? The voice on the other end of the line continued, chilling Sarah's bones. Sarah, this is not just about the money. You need to understand what you've gotten into. Each word felt like ice water trickling down her spine. What do you mean? She asked, trying to keep her tone steady. Her mind raced. Images of neighborhood meetings and hopeful children flashed before her. Everything was about to change, but how? They're watching you. The money comes with strings attached. Things you don't know about. The voice dropped to a whisper, almost conspiratorial. You need to be careful. You don't want to get in over your head. Fear surged in Sarah's chest. She gripped the phone tighter, the plastic pressing against her palm. Who's watching me? What strings? I can't say more, but trust me, this isn't a simple handout. They'll expect something in return. The line went silent, leaving her holding onto a hollow void. Jake! Sarah shouted as she stumbled back into the living room, her heart pounding. Jake looked up from the diorama he was creating for school. His face was a mix of confusion and concern. What happened? He asked, standing up. It's about the money, it's not what we thought. Her voice trembled. Jake's brows knitted together as he stepped closer. What do you mean? I don't know. Sarah's thoughts swirled around her like the storm outside. I just got a call. Someone said it would come with expectations that they're watching us. His eyes widened, reflecting the very same fear she felt. What if our plans are in jeopardy? Maybe we need to do a little digging, Sarah suggested, the fierce determination rising again alongside her fears. Who sent the envelope? Why us? Jake nodded, firming his grip on the table. If we're going to do this, we have to be smart about it. We won't let fear stop us. But we have to know what we're dealing with. Mia and Tommy wandered back into the room, sensing the change in atmosphere. What's wrong? Mia's voice was soft, edged with innocence. Just some grown-up stuff, Sarah reassured them, her smile tight. But we need your help to figure things out, okay? Tommy nodded, but uncertainty clouded his blue eyes. The family huddled together, brainstorming their options. They talked through the different scenarios, each one revealing a new layer of complexity. Sarah could see Mia's innocent enthusiasm start to dim as fears grew more pronounced. "We have to speak to someone about this," Jake said. "Maybe there's a way to find out more without getting too deep in trouble." "Like who?" Sarah felt the exhaustion seep in. They were all looking to her for answers, and right now, she had none. "Maybe Mr. Thompson at the community center? He knows everyone." "Good idea," Sarah exclaimed, grateful for the spark of agency. "Tomorrow, we'll go. And in the meantime, let us keep working on our plans. We'll meet others and gather ideas. One thing's for sure, this community needs each other now more than ever." The kids brightened at the thought of sharing their dreams with others. The shadows of uncertainty were still there, but Sarah felt a flicker of hope igniting once again. As they settled in for the night, thunder clapped outside, furious but distant now. Inside, the warmth of their little world remained. But as Sarah lay in bed, she couldn't shake off the unease. What were they really getting into? Could the light they sought come with a price too steep to bear? Just as sleep began to claim her, a new thought gripped her: the urgency of time. "Tomorrow," she whispered to herself, "tomorrow, we'll face the storm together." But little did she know tomorrow would unravel secrets she never imagined, secrets that could tear everything apart. Morning light filtered through the curtains, casting soft shadows on the walls as Sarah blinked away sleep. Her mind raced the moment she opened her eyes, the call from last night still echoing in her thoughts. Forcing herself to shake off the lingering dread, she rolled out of bed and padded to the kitchen, determined to prepare a warm breakfast for the kids. Jake slumped at the table, his cereal untouched, a frown furrowing his brow. "Mom, what if Mr. Thompson knows something we don't?" He looked up, concern etched on his face. "I know," Sarah replied, pouring her own cup of coffee, the aroma trying to break through her anxiety. "But we can't let fear control us. We have to take this one step at a time." Just then, Mia and Tommy tumbled in, wide-eyed and eager, the smell of breakfast drawing them in. Mia flashed a bright smile, her innocence radiating warmth despite the storm brewing outside. "Are we going to the community center today?" she asked, her excited bounces lighting up the room. "Yes, we are," Sarah said, forcing herself to match Mia's enthusiasm. "But first, let us eat." They settled around the table, sharing little moments of laughter mixed with serious conversations about their community project, which remained at the heart of their worry. As they finished breakfast, a sharp knock echoed through the house, making everyone jump. Sarah exchanged a worried glance with Jake. "Stay here," she whispered, motioning for him to keep the younger two occupied. With her heart racing, she moved cautiously to the door. Peeking through the peephole, she saw a tall man in a dark suit. Uncertainty filled her. Did he come from the mysterious call? Gathering her courage, she opened the door. "Can I help you?" The man smiled, but something in his eyes sent a shiver down her spine. "Good morning, ma'am. I'm with the organization that sent the funds to your community project." His voice was smooth, almost too smooth. "May I come in? We have some important things to discuss." Sure." She stepped aside, the chill of her instincts sharp as the man crossed the threshold. He took a moment to survey the space, his eyes landing on the kids playing in the living room. "Lovely family," he said. "You're making quite an impression in the community." "Thank you," Sarah replied cautiously. "We're just trying to do our best." "Of course." He locked eyes with her, piercing and unsettling. "The funding comes with some expectations, and it's crucial for you to understand that involvement requires commitment." "Commitment to what?" The words tumbled out, and she wished she could take them back the moment she said them. He smiled again, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You'll need to meet certain objectives. Things that will benefit those involved." "What do you mean?" She felt the anxiety settle heavily in her stomach. The man stepped back slightly. You'll be in charge of orchestrating community events, perhaps even persuading others to join our cause. The potential is enormous, but nothing good comes without sacrifice. Sarah's breath hitched as she tried to process this new reality. Sacrifice? What kind of sacrifice? A fleeting smirk crossed his lips. Let's just say, it might get complicated. But I trust you'll make the right choices. He handed her a sleek black envelope, heavy with the weight of unspoken truths. Consider this your first step. She held the envelope as he walked to the door, leaving a suffocating silence in his wake. Once he was gone, Sarah felt her heart race again. She quickly opened the envelope, revealing a large check, the numbers glaring up at her like some sort of curse. 400,000. What how? She whispered, feeling the weight of every word. Would this really bring hope, or would it pull them into a deeper pit of despair? Jake rushed in. Mom? What was that all about? Sarah looked up at her children, determination flashing behind her eyes. They wouldn't be afraid. Not yet. Just a little unexpected news, she replied, forcing a smile. But deep down, a storm was brewing, its winds whispering that this was only the beginning. What kind of twist lay ahead? And what choices did they really face? Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and Sarah felt the heavy weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders more than ever. The next day dawned with an unsettling heaviness in the air, the clouds outside mirroring the uncertainty swirling inside Sarah's mind. She had barely slept, consumed by thoughts of that check, the words of Mr. Thompson echoing in her ears like a haunting melody. It was hard to focus on breakfast, but as always, the kids were bubbling with energy, their innocent chatter breaking through her fog. Mom, can I help set the table? Mia's bright voice cut through her thoughts, and Sarah nodded, grateful for the small distraction. Sure, sweetheart. Just don't spill anything, she replied, managing a soft smile as she poured juice into glasses. Jake kept glancing at her, his brow furrowed with worry. Mom, are we really gonna use the money? What if it comes with strings attached? They all gathered around the table, the tension palpable. Sarah set her cup down, her hands trembling slightly. I don't know, Jake. But we need to understand what the money means before we do anything with it. Are we still going to the community center? Tommy chimed in, his eyes wide with hope. Of course, Sarah assured him. That's our first step. But in her heart, she knew it felt different now. Every plan now came wrapped in uncertainty. After breakfast, they made their way to the community center, the familiar scent of fresh paint and chatter welcoming them. Yet as soon as Sarah stepped inside, her gut twisted. The atmosphere felt charged, alive with the energy of children but clouded by the ever-present tension of finances, the very foundation of their project resting on those few inked numbers. Hey Sarah. You made it. Emma, the center's director, approached her, a bright smile on her face. But Sarah could see the worry lines etched deep into her forehead. Hey Emma, Sarah replied, forcing her own smile. How's everything? It's tough. The funding we were counting on, it's all up in the air. Emma paused, looking at Sarah as if weighing her next words. We could really use some good news. Suddenly, all eyes were on Sarah, and in that moment, she felt the weight of responsibility press down. I might have gotten a little unexpected help, she started, heart racing. What do you mean? Emma leaned in, curiosity glimmering in her eyes. Sarah hesitated, caught between hope and fear. The thoughts of commitment and sacrifice flashed before her eyes. I received funding 400,000. The silence that followed felt like an eternity, and then, that's incredible. Emma exclaimed, though there was a touch of skepticism in her voice. What's the catch? Again, Sarah felt the pressure of that question. I don't know yet. I need to figure out what it really means. As they moved through the center, Sarah felt the energy shift, familiar faces turned to her with a mixture of admiration and expectation. She sensed they were picturing the possibilities, an entire new world of opportunity. A community garden, classes, repairs, a second chance, a fresh start, but with those dreams, the shadows of doubt clawed at her. What was the organization really asking for in return? Mia tugged at her shirt. "Mom, can we paint the mural today?" "Sure, let us get started." Sarah squeezed her daughter's shoulder, trying to shake the negativity from her mind. They gathered supplies, laughter mixing with focus as the kids' art took shape. Yet in the back of her mind, the flashing sign of choice and consequence loomed. Suddenly, her phone buzzed, breaking the moment. A text from the unknown number. "Sarah, I hope you're ready to discuss the next steps. Your commitment is crucial." Her heart dropped. What did that even mean? "Mom?" Jake's voice pulled her out of her thoughts. "You okay?" "Yeah, I'm just fine." But she wasn't. Not at all. Could she really trust this funding? Or was it a trap waiting to close around them? As the day wrapped up and they made their way home, the weight of secrets and choices hung heavily in the air. What would she say to her kids when it was time to confront the truth? The time for decisions was rapidly approaching, and Sarah could only hope she was strong enough to bear the weight of the choices ahead. Sarah sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the screen of her phone like it held the answers to all the questions swirling in her mind. The text lingered in the air, heavier than the check itself. The words felt both seductive and threatening. Commitment. It was a simple term but carried a lifetime of weight. "Mom!" Mia's excited voice echoed from down the hall, breaking her trance. "Can we go help paint at the community center now? Please." Sarah took a deep breath, forced herself to smile, and slid the phone into her pocket. "I'll be right there," she called back, trying to shake off the nagging doubts. As they arrived back at the center, the sunlight poured through the large windows, illuminating the chaos of colors and laughter. Kids ran around with paintbrushes, splattering vibrant hues everywhere. For a moment, as Sarah watched Mia and Jake join in, she felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Emma spotted her and approached, her brows slightly lifted. "How are you feeling about everything?" "Overwhelmed, I suppose. I'm still figuring out what this money really means. Just know that whatever happens, we're all in this together." "You don't have to carry that burden alone," Emma reassured her. The sincerity in her voice gave Sarah a tiny sense of comfort. As they headed towards the mural, the vibrant colors caught her eye. It represented everything they aimed to build, a future filled with creativity and community. There was so much more at stake now, too much to ignore. "Can I use this color, Mom?" Mia squealed, holding up a yellow that sparkled like sunshine. "Absolutely. Go for it." Sarah watched her daughter mix and swirl, her innocence infectious. Yet, as she smiled back, a wave of trepidation washed over her. How could she enjoy this moment when the underlying truth remained hidden? Jake leaned against the wall, a frown creasing his forehead. "Are we really okay, Mom? I mean, if this goes bad." Sarah knelt next to him, heart pounding. "Jake, whatever happens, we will face it together. But this could help so many people." His gaze shifted to the mural, where laughter and color merged seamlessly. "You promise?" "I promise," she whispered, but uncertainty lingered in the air, almost choking her. As the paintbrushes danced across the wall, a little girl tripped and sent paint flying onto the canvas, splattering everyone nearby. Laughter erupted, breaking the tension for a moment, and Sarah felt a heaviness lift, if only slightly. But as she turned to clean the mess, her phone buzzed again. "Meet me tomorrow. We need to discuss your role in this project. Don't be late." The tone was stern. Sarah's stomach churned. Was this what commitment looked like? "Mom, are you all right?" Mia's concerned voice interrupted her thoughts. Yeah, just got another text, Sarah muttered, trying hard not to let her worries seep through. As the day continued, she buried herself in the tangible joy surrounding her, the sound of laughter, the vision of painted dreams taking shape. But as each hour passed, the weight of the unknown loomed larger. When the time came for them to leave, the excitement of their colorful world dimmed with the shadows of Sarah's thoughts. What awaited her at that meeting? Would this be the moment her dreams began to unravel rather than grow? Back in the car, Mia and Tommy were buzzing, bursting with stories from the day, while Jake sat quietly, absorbing it all. Are we really gonna do this, Mom? Are you sure it's safe? Smiling as best she could, Sarah glanced in the rearview mirror at her children. I'll figure it out, I promise. We'll be okay. But deep down, she felt the storm brewing, and the next day promised to bring a reckoning she wasn't quite prepared for. As they pulled into their driveway, Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, filled with the thrill of possibility mingled with dread. What would she learn when she confronted the unknown? And would the outcome lead to salvation or despair? The sun began to set quietly over the small Midwest town, casting a golden hue across the streets as Sarah gathered her thoughts. Today was the day she had to face the unknown, the meeting about the money. Her heart thrummed in her chest as she watched Mia and Tommy play in the yard, their laughter echoing around her. The innocence in their eyes reminded her of everything she stood to protect. She couldn't let fear win. Hey, kids! She called, gathering them to her. We're gonna do something big today. Tommy looked up, blinking curiously. What's happening, Mom? She knelt down, her heart full and heavy. We're going to help our community in a way we've never done before. But it means I need to figure out a lot of things first, things about the money we received. Mia clapped her hands. Can we paint more? Make more fun things? Sarah smiled at her daughter's enthusiasm. Absolutely. But today, we've got to face a different kind of fun, maybe one that's a little scary. They piled into the car, and as she drove toward the community center, the familiar streets buzzed with life, but tension simmered beneath her calm facade. Sarah felt both anticipation and dread. What awaited her inside those walls? Upon arriving, Sarah found Mr. Thompson waiting. He was still as dignified, but something in his demeanor told her he understood the weight of expectations all too well. Sarah, ready for this? He greeted her warmly, and she nodded, her nerves evident. Yeah, I think so. Inside, the room was buzzing with energy, filled with people discussing plans for the neighborhood. Sarah took a deep breath, surveying the room filled with hopeful faces. All right. Mr. Thompson began. Today, we gather to discuss how best to utilize this generous funding, and help is just around the corner. With that, the discussions blossomed, but Sarah felt the weight of her unease growing unbearably heavy. Hey, can I talk to you for a sec? Jake approached, his brow furrowed. I'm worried about you. It feels like this is all too fast. I know, Jake. She placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. But this could really change everything for us. For everyone. As the meeting progressed, Sarah listened intently, engaged yet distracted by the underlying tension of the unspoken expectations. But finally, the moment arrived. Mr. Thompson turned to her with an expectant gaze. Sarah, you're at the helm of this project. Team up with your neighbors and lead them toward the change we all want to see. A pause followed. But you must understand, the money comes with responsibilities. This commitment will ask more of you than just your time. But with you at the forefront, I believe we can truly thrive as a community. Fear gripped Sarah tightly. What did that truly mean? Sacrifice? Expectations that might pull her back into the shadow of her past? Just as doubt began to creep back in, Sarah felt Mia's small hand slip into hers, grounding her. Mom, Mia said softly, looking up with big, trusting eyes. I'll help however I can. I know we can do this together. That moment illuminated something deep within her. This wasn't just about money, it was about opportunities, connections, and strength they could build together. Sarah felt her resolve strengthen with her daughter's innocent confidence. Okay, she said, newfound determination coursing through her. I'm ready to lead. The crowd erupted in applause, but for Sarah, it was just the beginning. Alongside her family and neighbors, she could carve out a path that transcended the money. Together they would create a brighter, more connected future. As the meeting wrapped up, she approached Mr. Thompson again. I'll accept the responsibilities. I'll find out what it takes. We'll do it right. He smiled, a knowing look in his eyes. I never doubted you. As the first sparks of a new dawn began glowing on the horizon, Sarah felt a wave of excitement. She would embrace each challenge with courage. This community project wouldn't just be hers, it would belong to everyone. After the meeting, there were whispers of plans for a community garden, a playground, better classes for kids, all born from several voices coming together. The money could transform their town, and they'd make sure to do it with open hearts. Days passed, and the project unfolded beautifully. They painted murals, created a garden bursting with flowers, laughter, and life. No storms could hold them back, especially now that they had each other. Sarah transformed right alongside the community. She felt lighter, more connected, as burdens lifted that had long weighed her down. As she worked side by side with her brother Jake, she could finally see glimpses of the bond they had once lost, healing slowly and steadily in the process. On the evening of the grand opening of their new community center, with colorful balloons and laughter filling the air, Sarah felt overwhelming joy and pride. In that moment, she saw her children running freely, Jake laughing with neighbors, and the warmth of community around her. With the echoes of their childhood dreams swirling, Sarah knew she wouldn't have to fear what lay ahead. She turned to her children, eyes sparkling. We did it, didn't we? Mia and Tommy cheered, eyes aglow with hope. Together. They shouted in unison, and together they had turned a potential burden into a blessing, strengthening the ties that held them, igniting a flame of hope that could not be extinguished, proof that they could rise together, no matter the storm. Now, as a new chapter began, Sarah embraced the journey ahead, knowing she'd never walk it alone again, and just like that, the storm faded away, leaving space for new beginnings. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others see this transformation. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending, we're eager to hear what you think. And for the love of community, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.